Happy equinox! This is a very special time if you've ever wanted to chase the northern lights. This past year has seen some incredible displays of the Aurora Borealis that stretched very far south into the United States and Europe. They were even visible in Norfolk in the United Kingdom and in my home country of France. This past April 23rd, they would have been visible from our balcony at Griffith Observatory if not for light pollution. And they were seen as far south as San Diego. I've been lucky to see the northern lights on a couple of occasions, and they don't call it chasing for nothing. So here are my tips. Number 1, time of year. You cannot see the northern lights in the summertime because the nights just don't get dark enough. You might think that means winter is a great time to see them. But the weather can often be overcast. But there is a sweet spot towards the spring equinox and towards the autumn equinox. That means around the end of March and around the end of September. And that isn't just because there's still enough night and the weather might be a little bit clearer. There is an actual geometric effect in action, called the Russell-McLaren effect. The Earth is a magnetic dipole, just like a bar magnet. And this produces a magnetic field all around us. And at equinox, the axis of that magnetic field is perpendicular to the solar wind, which means magnetic coupling between the two is much more likely to occur. Number 2, location, location, location. Remember what I was telling you about overcast weather? There are 2 places in the world that have a pretty decent microclimate, meaning they get a little less overcast. Tromsø in Norway and Abisko in Sweden. Other options, of course, are Canada, Alaska, Finland, and Iceland, where I generally go see them. Boy, didn't I mention they were also visible in the United States and Europe? Yes, you may indeed be able to see them in states higher than Texas and parts of Europe over the next year or 2. This is because we are approaching a period of time called the solar maximum, slated for 2025. Which can produce more frequent and intense geomagnetic storms visible at lower latitudes. In 1859, the Carrington event, the strongest geomagnetic storm we have on record, was visible all the way to the Caribbean and Chile. We don't fully understand how frequent these events are. It could happen again this solar cycle. So how will you know if there's a very good geomagnetic storm happening? Download an Aurora application. And follow places like spaceweather.com. We usually get about 24 to 48 hours notice, or sometimes none at all, when there's a sneaky coronal mass ejection. Finally, look up any dark sky map to find a dark area to drive to where you might see them on the northern horizon. So what about the southern hemisphere? Well, there are also auroras there, called the Southern Lights or Aurora Australis. They are occasionally seen in Australia and New Zealand. But they aren't spoken about as much because they mostly happen over Antarctica, and penguins don't have fingers to tweet about them. If you do travel to northern latitudes, you do not need to pay for expensive tours to see them. Sure, these people will be better able to point out the auroras or warn you when they're happening, but there is no secret location other than a dark sky. If you are at the right latitude, they will be visible on the horizon, facing north or right above your head. You might also be paying for nothing. The auroras don't happen every night, even at the best locations. Which brings me to number 3, patience. I recommend staying at least a week in a location if you want the best chance to see them, and you may need to be up late. The darker it is, the better your chances of spotting weaker displays. But I have to warn you, they're also very unpredictable. I've seen them dance around like a giant firework for 5 minutes and then vanish. Other times, displays lasted for several hours. Some displays might be pretty weak, and the auroras can look like a diffuse cloud, as opposed to the highly saturated photos we see online. This is the first time I saw them, on my computer screen in my hotel room almost 10 years ago. I had shot the northern lights without even realizing it. This is because human night vision is largely black and white, and because cameras are a lot more sensitive to light than us. All the more reasons not to blast your eyeballs with those very bright phone screens. Our nighttime vision can take up to 30 minutes to readjust to the darkness. You may just have to point your camera on the horizon and shoot blindly. So check those online forecasts, and most of all, make sure you're looking up. And if you can't make it during these next few years, don't worry. The auroras can also be good during the solar minimum, due to the stability of coronal holes and the solar wind streaming out of them. The next solar minimum will be after 2030. Have you ever seen them? Let me know your tips below, and happy chasing!